not being able to order food always by myself?
Probably that there's not a lot of English signs in some areas.
When you don't understand the language, it can be very, very overwhelming and very frustrating.
Sometimes I would go somewhere and I'm like, oh great, they wouldn't have an English menu. So be like, all right, let's just pull out Google Translate. And I pull out Google Translate and find it, and then it would just be a game of digga, and then, this? And you're trying really hard, and sometimes that was a little bit difficult. I'm lucky that I've made friends who speak Mandarin who help me out on occasions, but that's hard sometimes.
Even though I've traveled a lot throughout my life, I've always been in a place where it's predominantly English speaking. So coming here and just listening to everyone and everything and not being able to understand 95% of it was a little bit overwhelming at first, but you start learning parts of the language and you can pick up things here and there, and that's made it a lot easier.
Feeling comfortable with that feeling of being uncomfortable. Most places that I've always been, I've been able to communicate really well everywhere I went and communicate with the people who live there. And here it's been a steep learning curve trying to navigate this entire situation with the language barrier. So that's always an interesting process.
Because I think I was taking Chinese lessons as well. So I started to feel more comfortable, being able to recognize words, able to maybe even say some words to the local people, and that really helped me settle in. So I definitely recommend, Chinese lessons.
I used my Google Translate camera pretty much every day, just like picking it up and being like, okay, so this says, I think this says that, even though it's sometimes very, very inaccurate, but most of the time you can kind of get a gist of what it's supposed to be, so that was definitely very useful.
I've tried to adapt to it by trying my best to learn the language itself, making friends, local friends, not just foreign friends, and at the same time I'm just like, oh, you know what, if I don't get it, just move on. It's okay if you don't get it, just let it go.
I thought the language is going to be very hard. Learning a little bit of the language here has helped, but a lot of people here, know English. Although I try not to rest on that alone, because for me, I think if I'm in the country, out of respect, it's good to know the language. So with a little bit of the Chinese that I've learned, and of course the English that they're able to understand, I've been able to communicate and get around fairly easy. So that wasn't too much of a difficulty.